It happened in a flash, a moment of precision that sent shockwaves through the Russian war machine. In the chaos of war, sometimes it's a single well-timed strike that changes everything. This was one of those moments, a split second that would echo far beyond the battlefield. Ukrainian intelligence had tracked a high-value target in occupied Donetsk, a command post, the nerve center of a major Russian offensive. This was not just any building, it was the beating heart of Russian operations in the region, coordinating attacks, relaying orders, and holding together the entire offensive. The order was given. A HIMARS missile streaked across the sky, slicing through the night, and struck with devastating accuracy. The missile's trajectory was flawless, a testament to the skill and coordination of Ukraine's forces. The explosion obliterated the command center, turning a hub of Russian power into a crater of fire and debris. Flames lit up the night sky and the shockwave could be felt for miles. In an instant the command post was reduced to rubble, its influence wiped out. This was no random attack, it was a decapitation strike designed to break the chain of command at a critical moment. Ukrainian planners had waited for the perfect opportunity, striking when the Russian leadership was most vulnerable. Russia was in the midst of a major push, throwing everything at Ukrainian lines. Tanks rolled forward, artillery thundered, and soldiers advanced under heavy fire, all relying on orders from the now destroyed command post. In one calculated move, Ukraine took out the brain of that operation. The effect was immediate. Russian advances stalled, and confusion spread through their ranks. The strike showcased Ukraine's growing intelligence and mastery of advanced weaponry. It was a demonstration of how modern warfare is fought, not just with brute force but with information, precision, and timing. It sent a clear message: not even Russian commanders are safe. Now every leader on the Russian side had to look over their shoulder, wondering if they were next. The aftermath was chaos. Russian soldiers in disarray, communications down, orders vanished. Radios fell silent, and units were left to fend for themselves, unsure of what to do next. For those on the front, the sudden silence from their leaders was more terrifying than artillery. The uncertainty bred fear, and hesitation crept into every decision. This single strike shattered the illusion of Russian control and exposed a critical vulnerability. The myth of invincibility was gone, replaced by doubt and anxiety. How do you fight a war when your leaders are being picked off? Every order now carried a shadow of fear, every gathering of officers a potential target. Ukraine is fighting smarter, leveraging technology and intelligence to level the field. They're not just resisting, they're adapting, innovating, and outmaneuvering a larger foe. They're exploiting weaknesses with surgical precision, turning the enemy's strengths into liabilities. This was psychological warfare. Every Russian officer now knows they could be next. The fear of the unseen, the knowledge that nowhere is truly safe, began to erode morale. The ripple effect of fear and confusion spread across the front. Units hesitated, coordination faltered, and the Russian advance lost momentum. The message was received loud and clear. Ukraine had shown it could strike at the very heart of Russian power, and the world was watching. And it marked a turning point in the battle for Donetsk, a moment when the tide began to shift, and the future of the conflict was rewritten in fire and steel. At the heart of the destroyed command post was a Russian brigade commander, a leader responsible for thousands of troops, the nerve center of his unit's operations. His presence on the battlefield was not just symbolic, it was essential for maintaining order, discipline, and the flow of critical information. His death was a strategic catastrophe for the Kremlin, not just a statistic. It sent shockwaves through the upper echelons of Russian power, forcing officials to confront the reality that even their most protected leaders were vulnerable. Russia's rigid top-down command structure was suddenly headless in a key sector. Without their commander, the chain of command fractured, leaving subordinates uncertain and hesitant. Killing a commander of this level is a massive blow. These officers are the linchpins connecting Kremlin's strategy to battlefield tactics. Their experience and authority are irreplaceable in the heat of battle. Remove the linchpin and the machine starts to fall apart. Orders lost, units uncoordinated, soldiers adrift. Confusion spreads quickly, and discipline erodes as troops look for guidance that never comes. The loss triggered a cascade of failures, turning a planned offensive into chaos. What was meant to be a show of force became a retreat, with Russian units scrambling to regroup under fire. It exposed a systemic weakness in Russia's approach to war. The reliance on centralized leadership left them vulnerable to targeted strikes, and their inability to adapt quickly became glaringly obvious. Now, other Russian officers operate in fear, forced to disperse and hide, crippling their ability to lead. They must constantly look over their shoulders, knowing they could be next. This climate of paranoia undermines decision-making and effectiveness. Leaders hesitate, fearing exposure, and the entire command structure slows to a crawl. Ukraine is deliberately creating this dilemma, using long-range strikes to hunt down those directing the invasion. Their precision attacks are designed to sow confusion and fear at every level of the Russian command. It's a smart, asymmetric strategy against a powerful foe. By leveraging technology and intelligence, Ukraine turns Russia's size and rigidity into liabilities. The death of this commander is a powerful symbol. No one in the invading army is beyond Ukraine's reach. It sends a clear message: leadership is not a shield, and nowhere is truly safe. For all of Russia's might, it can be outmaneuvered and outsmarted. Ukrainian forces have shown that determination and adaptability can overcome brute strength. This isn't just one strike, it's a pattern of Ukrainian resilience and ingenuity. Each success builds confidence, inspiring both soldiers and civilians to keep pushing forward. And the chaos only deepened from here. As the Russian command struggled to regain control, their vulnerabilities now lay bare for the world to see. With their commander gone, Russian forces plunged into confusion. The officer corps, already depleted, couldn't fill the void. Discipline broke down and bizarre tactics emerged. Reports surfaced of Russian soldiers disguising themselves as civilians or in odd attire to avoid drone strikes. This isn't the behavior of a confident army, it's desperation. Without clear orders, small units launched reckless, uncoordinated attacks, easily repelled by Ukrainian defenders. Staggering casualties followed, with no territorial gain. The officer shortage is critical. Russia has lost many experienced leaders, replaced by poorly trained men. When a high-ranking commander is killed, there's often no one competent to step up. The use of disguises and pointless attacks are symptoms of a leadership crisis. The Russian war effort is fraying at the edges, plagued by fear and incompetence. The strike didn't just kill a commander, it exposed the rot within the Russian military. Nowhere was the chaos more evident than around Pokrovsk, a focal point of Russia's offensive. After the command post strike, Russian attacks became erratic and desperate. Troops advanced into open fields without support, walked into minefields and bunched up. Easy targets for Ukrainian drones and artillery. The casualties were astronomical. Pokrovsk became a meat grinder. Ukrainian defenders, well prepared, cut down these poorly coordinated assaults. Russian soldiers advanced with robotic determination into kill zones, a grim testament to the breakdown of command. These weren't tactical maneuvers, but human wave attacks born of desperation. The officer shortage was painfully clear. Leaders were dead, inexperienced, or too scared to adapt. Ukraine held its ground as the enemy became increasingly dysfunctional. Every failed attack was a testament to the chaos unleashed by that single Ukrainian strike. While chaos reigned in Russian ranks, Ukraine's defense near Dobropilya was a study in contrast. Russian forces tried to break through with infiltration tactics, some even in disguise. Ukrainian forces, organized and vigilant, detected and neutralized these groups swiftly. Drones, rapid response teams, and effective communication showcased a modern, adaptable military. Ukraine didn't just defend, they hunted down the enemy. Russia's infiltration attempts failed, exposing their disorganization. The loss of command structure turned a planned offensive into disjointed, easily defeated probes. Ukraine's ability to hold firm under pressure is a testament to their resilience and tactical superiority. The failure at Dobropilya is another blow to Russia's operational goals. As Putin prepares for his summit, the battlefield offers him no leverage. Ukraine's success is undeniable. Now let's connect the battlefield chaos to the bigger picture. The relentless fighting in Ukraine isn't just about territory, it's about power, reputation, and the future of global politics. Every explosion, every retreat, and every advance on the ground is shaping the fate of leaders far beyond the front lines. Today, President Putin meets former President Trump for a high-stakes summit in Alaska. This is no ordinary diplomatic encounter. It's a meeting that could shift the balance of power between East and West, with the world's eyes fixed on every handshake and every word exchanged. Putin is desperate. His war is faltering, his army in disarray, his offensive stalling. The images of battered vehicles and retreating troops have become symbols of a campaign gone wrong, undermining his image as a strongman. He comes to the summit from a position of weakness, hoping diplomacy can salvage what the military cannot. For Putin, this is a rare moment of vulnerability, and he knows the world is watching for any sign of concession or defeat. The recent offensives were likely timed to coincide with the summit, to claim progress. By showing some movement on the battlefield, Putin hoped to strengthen his negotiating hand, even if the reality is far less impressive. But the reality on the ground has exposed his bluff. Ukrainian forces have reclaimed territory, and the world has seen through the facade of Russian strength. Trump, known for transactional deals, might propose territorial swaps, an opportunity Putin hopes to exploit. Both leaders are skilled at political theater, but the stakes here are higher than ever, with millions of lives and the fate of nations hanging in the balance. But can he negotiate when his army looks incompetent and is losing ground? The credibility gap is widening, making every diplomatic move riskier for Putin. This summit is a massive gamble. Failure will make Putin look weak at home and abroad. His political survival may depend on the outcome as critics and rivals circle, waiting for any sign of weakness. The chaos on the battlefield has raised the stakes enormously. Every setback in Ukraine echoes in the halls of power in Moscow, fueling uncertainty and fear. Putin is no longer negotiating from strength, but to save face. The pressure is immense, and the world's leaders are watching his every move, ready to judge the outcome. The world is watching to see if he can salvage anything from this disaster. The outcome of this summit could reshape alliances, redraw borders, and determine the legacy of Vladimir Putin for years to come. As Putin and Trump prepare to meet, President Zelensky makes his position clear. No deals trading land for peace. He demands a full withdrawal of Russian troops from all Ukrainian territory. This puts him in direct opposition to Putin's goals. Russia's strategy is to shape opinion, pushing the narrative that Ukraine cannot win and must accept losses. Their propaganda machine is working overtime, but Zelensky is cutting through the fog. He reminds the world, this is about sovereignty and the inadmissibility of changing borders by force. Key European allies back him, rejecting any reward for aggression. Zelensky's firm stance is a crucial counterweight to backroom deals. Two narratives clash, Putin's inevitability of compromise and Zelensky's demand for a just peace. The recent battlefield chaos has strengthened Ukraine's hand. The truth on the ground is a powerful weapon against propaganda. Amid strategy and summits, the human cost remains the most important truth. As Russia falters, it escalates attacks on civilians, missiles and drones striking cities far from the front. Apartment buildings, shopping centers, and power plants are targeted in a campaign of terror. Civilian casualties are at their highest in years. These attacks serve no military purpose. They aim to break Ukrainian resolve. But instead, they harden it. Every missile strengthens Ukraine's determination to fight on. This escalation is a stark reminder of Putin's regime and must weigh on any summit deal. The rising civilian death toll is a direct result of military failure. As the world watches Alaska, the question remains, is this the beginning of the end for Putin's war or a darker chapter ahead?